When a Korean mafia boss's wife dies under suspicious circumstances, he becomes a man with one priority: protect his daughter, trust no one, and definitely don't let strangers into his home. So when Seo Kang-jun needed a nanny, he did everything right. Background checks, references, 3 carefully selected candidates from families he knew. What he didn't plan for was his 5-year-old daughter having other ideas. Yoona took one look at the approved candidates, walked straight past them to the new maid in the kitchen, and made her choice. The maid was American, black, had been in Korea for 4 months with papers that barely checked out. Everything about her screamed risk, but Yoona wouldn't let go of her hand. And Kang-jun had learned the hard way that his daughter's instincts were better than his own. What he didn't know was that his new hire was running from something just as dangerous as the life he led, that she carried evidence worth killing for, and that hiring her would bring 2 worlds crashing together in ways none of them could predict. The maid's name was Kimura Ellison, and she was about to turn his entire world upside down. Real talk for a second. How many of you have ever been in a situation where a child trusted you before any adult did? There's something about kids, the way they see people. They don't care about your resume or your background check. They just feel who you are. That's exactly what happened to Kimura. And if you stick with me through this story, you're going to see why that 5-year-old's choice was the best decision anyone in that house ever made. Drop a heart in the comments if you're ready for this journey. Now let's get back to Seoul. Kimura Ellison had been in the Seo household for exactly 3 days when the little girl chose her. She wasn't supposed to be chosen. She was supposed to be invisible. Just another set of hands, wiping counters and folding sheets in a house that had more rooms than she'd bothered counting. The plan was simple. Work for 6 months, save everyone, disappear before anyone asked the wrong questions. She'd done it before in Manila, in Bangkok, in 2 cities whose names she'd already trained herself to forget. Seoul was just another stop, another place to not be Kimura Ellison. But then Seo Yoona walked into the kitchen where Kimura was scrubbing a pot, stood there in her Navy school uniform with her backpack still on, and stared. Kimura had felt those eyes before she saw them. The weight of a child's attention is different from an adult's. Adults look at you and decide what you are in 3 seconds. Children take their time. She kept scrubbing, didn't look up. The water ran hot over her hands, louder than it needed to be in the quiet kitchen. "You're new," the child said in Korean. Kimura glanced up, gave a small, polite smile, went back to the pot. She'd learned that looking confused bought you time. Let them think you barely understood. "Do you speak Korean?" The girl switched to English. Her pronunciation was careful, each word placed like a step on ice. A little. Kimura lied in English. "I'm still learning." Yoona walked closer. 5 years old, according to the staff schedule Kimura had memorized. But her face had that serious quality some kids get when they've seen something sad up close. "What's your name?" "Kimura." "That's pretty." Yoona tilted her head. "Why are your eyes sad?" Kimura's hand stopped, just for a second. She made herself start scrubbing again, but the girl had already seen it. "I'm not sad," Kimura said. "Just tired. My daddy has tired eyes too, but I think they're sad eyes." Yoona stepped closer until she was right next to the sink. "Do you know my daddy?" "I've seen him. Once, in a hallway." He'd walked past her like she was furniture, and she'd been grateful for it. "He's looking for someone to take care of me. Lots of ladies came yesterday. They smiled too much. I didn't like them." Kimura dried her hands, turned to face the child properly. "Why didn't you like them?" "They looked at me like I was a test they had to pass." Yoona's small shoulders lifted, dropped. "You're not looking at me like that. I'm not here for the job, sweetheart. I just clean."
Why?
"Because that's what they hired me to do." "No. I mean, why do you just clean? You could do other things." Kimura almost smiled. "What makes you think that?" "Your hands," Yoona said simply. "They're not cleaning hands." A cold line ran down Kimura's spine. She looked at her own hands, the calluses in the wrong places, the small scar on her right thumb from a different life. Before she could answer, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Multiple pairs. Kimura recognized the cadence. Staff moving with purpose, which meant someone important was coming. Choi Rina appeared first, the head housekeeper, her face tight with something that looked like panic when she saw Yoona. "Miss Yoona, your father is waiting in the study. The candidates are here." 2 women in business attire stepped into view behind her, both Korean, both holding leather folders like shields. They smiled when they saw Yuna. Bright professional smiles. Yuna's face went blank. Come, Choi Rina said, gentler now. You must choose today. I already chose, Yuna said. Choi Rina blinked. You haven't met them yet. I chose her. Yuna reached out and took Kimura's hand. Her fingers were small and warm and certain. I want Kimura. The kitchen went silent. One of the candidates laughed, a nervous crystalline sound. But is she even qualified? Choi Rina's mouth opened, closed. She looked at Kimura like this was somehow her fault. Miss Yuna, she started, but Yuna's grip tightened. I want Kimura. She has sad eyes like Daddy. She understands. Your grandfather won't, this isn't. We need to speak to your father. Okay, Yuna pulled Kimura forward. Let's go speak to him. Kimura tried to extract her hand. Sweetheart, I don't think that's. But Yuna was already moving, towing her toward the hallway, and Kimura had two choices. Make a scene or follow. She followed. They walked through the house, this strange parade. Yuna in front, Kimura behind her, Choi Rina, and the two candidates trailing like confused wedding guests. The house opened up around them, all dark wood and careful lighting, the kind of place where even the air felt expensive. Kimura had cleaned parts of it, but never been to the third floor where they were headed now. Each step took her deeper into a situation she couldn't afford. Her pulse hammered against her throat. The study door was open. Seo Kang-jun sat behind a desk that looked like it had been carved from a single piece of wood. He was reading something, his face angled down, dark hair falling slightly forward. He didn't look up when they entered. Daddy, Yuna said, I picked one. He looked up then. His eyes went to his daughter first, then to Kimura, then to their joined hands. Something flickered across his face, too quick to read. You were supposed to interview all the candidates, he said in Korean. His voice was quiet. Kimura had learned that the quietest voices in rooms like this were usually the most dangerous. I don't need to. I want her. His gaze moved to Kimura fully now, and she felt it like a spotlight. She'd been looked at by dangerous men before, had learned to make herself smaller, less interesting, not worth the attention. But something in his stare made her spine straighten instead. Do you speak Korean? He asked her directly. A little, she said in careful Korean. I'm learning. One of the candidates behind her made a small sound. Sir, with respect, this woman is a housekeeping hire. She hasn't been vetted for childcare. We don't even know her background. Is your background checked? Kang-jun didn't look away from Kimura. Of course, the woman said. Then check hers. He leaned back in his chair. You know why this one? She doesn't smile like she's lying, and she's sad like us. Kang-jun's jaw tightened. For a second, Kimura saw something crack in his expression, something that looked like pain, before it smoothed over again. Being sad isn't a qualification, he said. It is if you need someone who understands. Yuna's voice was small but certain. I understand her. She understands me, I can tell. The room held its breath. Kang-jun stood. He walked around the desk, and Kimura forced herself not to step back. He stopped 3 feet away, studying her like she was a contract he was trying to find the trap in. What's your name? Kimura Ellison. American, yes. How long have you been in Seoul? 4 months. Why are you here? The question was casual, but his eyes weren't. This was the test. Kimura had prepared for this, had a whole story ready about teaching English, about wanting to travel, about finding herself. All the things Americans were supposed to say. Instead, she told a version of the truth. I needed to leave where I was. His eyebrow lifted. Just slightly. Running from something? Wouldn't you be? She didn't mean to say it. But she was tired, and his daughter was holding her hand. And she was so sick of lying about small things. A corner of his mouth moved. Not quite a smile. Probably. He looked at Choi Rina. Run the background check. If it clears, she starts tomorrow. Sir. Choi Rina's voice was strained. Your father will want to approve. My daughter approved. That's enough. He looked at Yuna. Go with Miss Choi. I need to speak with Kimura alone. Yuna hesitated, then let go of Kimura's hand. She whispered, Don't leave, okay? Okay, Kimura heard herself say. The room emptied. The two candidates left quickly, their footsteps sharp with dismissed pride. Choi Rina lingered in the doorway, her expression unreadable, then pulled it closed. Silence. Kang-jun walked back to his desk but didn't sit. You didn't apply for this position. No, you don't want it. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Your face did. He picked up a pen, turned it between his fingers. But my daughter wants you, and she hasn't wanted anything since her mother died. So now we have a problem. What problem? I don't trust people who appear out of nowhere and become necessary. His eyes locked on hers. You have 3 seconds to tell me if there's anything in your background check that will be an issue. Kimura's false documents were clean. She'd paid enough for them. But her real background was a minefield. The check will clear, she said. That's not what I asked. She met his stare. I'm not a danger to your daughter. That's what you actually want to know. He studied her for a long moment. If I find out you're lying about anything, you'll regret it. Do you understand? Yes. Good. He sat down, picked up his reading again like she'd already stopped existing. You start at 7 tomorrow. Miss Choi will give you the details. Close the door on your way out. Kimura turned to leave. And Kimura. She stopped. My daughter is the only thing in this world I care about. Don't make me regret this. She left without answering. In the hallway, her hands were shaking. By the time Kimura got back to the tiny room she rented in Itaewon, it was past midnight. Her landlady, Mrs. Park, was still up watching a drama on full volume. She looked up when Kimura came in. You look stressed, she said in Korean. Long day, Kimura replied. Her Korean much smoother here than she'd let it be at the CO house. That house you're working at, the CO family. You be careful there. Kimura paused at the base of the stairs. Why? Mrs. Park made a face. Everyone knows what they are. Rich people, that kind of rich. It's never just business, you understand. They have long arms. I'm just cleaning. Mrs. Park didn't look convinced. Just cleaning. Sure. You're a smart girl, Kimura. Keep your head down. If only it were that easy. Upstairs, Kimura locked her door, checked the window, and pulled the small wooden panel loose behind her bookshelf. The USB drive was still there, wrapped in plastic, smaller than her thumb and worth more than her life. She hadn't looked at it in 2 months. Didn't need to. She'd memorized every frame of the footage. Devin Ray's face in the parking garage, the exchange, the gun, the man who stopped breathing. She'd been in the wrong place, seen the wrong thing. And then, because she'd spent 3 years as an investigative journalist before her life went sideways, she'd documented it. Habit. Stupid, survival-killing habit. Ray's people had identified her car in 48 hours. She'd been on a plane in 72. That was 6 months ago. She wrapped the drive back up, replaced the panel. Seo Kang-jun's face flickered through her mind. Those eyes that saw too much. This job was a mistake. She knew it the second Yuna took her hand. You don't get close to people when you're running. You don't let little girls with sad eyes make you promise to stay. But she'd said okay. And tomorrow she'd show up at 7. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her stomach dropped. The message was in English. We know you're in Seoul. Time to come home, Kimura. She deleted it, pulled the battery out of the phone, and sat in the dark for 20 minutes, letting her heartbeat slow down. 6 months of silence, and now this. The same week she'd agreed to work for a crime family. Coincidence didn't exist in her world, not anymore. She needed to run. Right now, pack the bag, hit the airport, pick a new city. But Yuna's voice was in her head. Don't leave, okay? And her own voice, stupidly, dangerously answering. Okay. Kimura pressed her palms against her eyes. 1 month. She'd give it 1 month. Save enough to disappear properly this time. Somewhere without extradition. And she'd make sure Yuna was okay before she left. The kid deserved that much. 1 month. What could possibly go wrong in 1 month? The next morning, Kimura arrived at the Seo house at 6:45. Choi Ri-na was waiting at the service entrance, her expression carved from ice. You're early. I'm punctual. Come. I'll show you Miss Yuna's schedule. Choi Ri-na's tone made it clear what she thought of this arrangement. The background check cleared, though how that's possible with only 1 day I couldn't say. Money, Kimura thought. Good forgers cost extra, but they delivered fast. They walked through the lower level, past the kitchen where 2 other staff members were preparing breakfast. Both looked up when Kimura entered. One smiled politely. The other's face stayed neutral, but her eyes tracked Kimura like a camera. This is Park Sung-hyun's doing, Choi Ri-na said quietly as they climbed the back stairs. He insisted on rushing your clearance. He wants to see what you are. And what am I? Choi Ri-na stopped on the landing, turned. That's what we're all wondering. You appear from nowhere. A child chooses you. And now you're living in a house where people's secrets get them buried. So, what are you? Kimura kept her face blank. Someone who needs a job. Everyone here needs their job. That's how we know to keep our mouths shut. Choi Ri-na started walking again. Miss Yuna wakes at 7. Breakfast at 7:30. School starts at 9. You'll drive her, pick her up at 3. Evening activities vary. Bed at 8:30, no exceptions. Questions: does she have nightmares? Choi Ri-na's step faltered, just slightly, sometimes, since her mother. We call Mr. CO if it's bad. What helps her calm down? I don't know. No one's been able to stay long enough to figure it out. The older woman's voice was softer now, sadder. She goes through nannies like tissues. They quit or Mr. CO's father convinces them to leave. You're number 7 in 2 years. What happened to the others? Some couldn't handle her silence. Some couldn't handle this family. One made the mistake of pitying her where the director could hear. Choi Ri-na stopped at a bedroom door, white with silver handles. He doesn't like pity. The director? Mr. CO's father. So Bong-chul. You'll meet him today, probably. She opened the door quietly. He's going to hate you, because I'm black. Choi Ri-na met her eyes. Yes. Also because his grandson chose you himself, which means removing you will be complicated. The director doesn't like complications he didn't create. Good to know. The room inside was soft pink and cream, full of books and stuffed animals organized with military precision. And in the middle of the bed, already awake and watching the door, was Yuna. Her face split into a smile when she saw Kimura. You came, she said in English. I said I would. People say things they don't mean all the time. Kimura walked to the bed, crouched down to eye level. I don't. If I say something, I mean it. Okay? Yuna studied her face, then nodded. Okay, good. Now let's get you ready for school. Choi Ri-na left them alone, and Kimura helped Yuna dress, braid her hair, pack her school bag. The child talked the whole time, a stream of thoughts about her teacher, about a boy who cheated at tag, about how she didn't like milk but everyone made her drink it. Normal kid things. It almost made Kimura forget where she was. Until they walked downstairs for breakfast and found 2 men waiting in the dining room. CO Kang-jun sat at the head of the table reading a newspaper. He glanced up when they entered, his eyes moving to Kimura for half a second before returning to the page. But she felt that glance like a touch. The other man was older, 70 at least, with steel gray hair and a face that had probably never smiled voluntarily in its life. He wore a traditional hanbok, dark blue, and sat with his back so straight it looked painful. Yuna ya, he said, come greet your grandfather properly. Yuna let go of Kimura's hand and walked over, bowed. He patted her head once, mechanically, then his attention shifted to Kimura. So this is the American. His Korean was crisp, formal. He didn't look at her like a person, more like a stain on his floor. Director CO, Kang-jun said without looking up from his paper. Kimura is Yuna's nanny now. Be polite. I'm always polite. The old man's smile was thin. Tell me, Miss Ellison, what qualifies you to care for a child of this family? Kimura had expected this. Your granddaughter trusts me. That's the only qualification that matters. My granddaughter is 5. She also trusts cartoons and candy. Grandfather, Yuna said softly. He waved a hand. I'm simply ensuring we haven't made a mistake. You understand, Miss Ellison. We have standards. I'm sure you do, Kimura said. His eyes sharpened. What does that mean? It means I understand that standards are important. She kept her voice level, her face neutral. This was a test. Men like him always tested. Sit, Kang-jun said, still not looking up. Breakfast is getting cold. Kimura sat next to Yuna. A staff member brought out rice, soup, side dishes arranged like art. She had no idea which utensil to use first and didn't particularly care. She waited for Yuna to start, then followed her lead. Your Korean is better than Miss Choi indicated, Director CO said. I'm learning quickly. How convenient. He picked up his spoon with careful fingers. And what brought you to Seoul, Miss Ellison? It's quite far from America. I wanted a change. What kind of change requires falsified documents? The room went still. Kimura's pulse spiked, but she didn't let it show on her face. She set down her spoon, met his eyes directly. I don't know what you mean. Your work visa has inconsistencies, small ones, the kind people hope no one notices. His smile was a blade. I notice everything. Father, Kang-jun's voice was very quiet. We discussed this. We discussed rushing a background check. We didn't discuss ignoring red flags. If there were real issues, Park Sung-hyun would have flagged them. Park Sung-hyun flagged 6 separate anomalies. You chose to ignore them. The director's attention hadn't left Kimura's face. So I'll ask directly. Who are you running from? Yuna's hand found Kimura's under the table. Small fingers, shaking slightly. Kimura squeezed back. I'm not running from anyone, she said. I came to Seoul for work. If there are issues with my visa, I can have them corrected. I'm sure you can. The question is whether we should wait for you to correct them, or simply find someone less complicated." He looked at his son. "There are 3 qualified candidates still interested. We could have one start tomorrow." "No," Yuna said. Her voice was small, but the word landed like a stone in water. Director Seo's expression softened slightly when he looked at her. "Yuna, ya, you don't understand. I understand that everyone wants to pick for me. I picked myself this time. You said I could. I said you could meet the candidates. I met her, I picked. You said my choice matters." The old man's jaw worked. He looked at his son. Kong Jun folded his newspaper, finally meeting his father's stare. "She made her choice," he said. "This is a mistake. Probably. But it's mine to make." The 2 men looked at each other, and Kimura saw 3 generations of family politics play out. In the silence, Director Seo broke first. He stood, his chair scraping. "Very well, but when this ends badly, and it will, don't say I didn't warn you." He looked at Kimura one last time. "You won't last 2 weeks here, Miss Ellison. This family eats people like you." He left. Kimura's hands were steady on the table, but her heart was trying to crack her ribs. "Finish your breakfast, Yuna," Kong Jun said. "You'll be late for school." He stood, walked out without looking at Kimura. But as he passed, he said quietly, just loud enough for her to hear, "Fix your documents. Whatever you're running from, make sure it doesn't follow you here." Then he was gone too. Yuna picked up her spoon, started eating like nothing had happened. "Is your grandfather always like that?" Kimura asked. "Only when he's scared." "What's he scared of?" Yuna looked up at her. "That I'll love you more than I remember, Mommy." The words hit Kimura in the chest. She had no idea what to say to that. So she just squeezed Yuna's hand again and helped her finish breakfast. 2 weeks, Director Seo had said. Kimura gave herself 1 month. By day 3, she knew she was being watched. It was subtle. A staff member in the hallway when she took Yuna to school. The same car 3 vehicles behind them in traffic. Park Sung-hyun, Kang Jun's right hand, appearing in doorways at odd times with questions that felt like interrogations. "How did you learn Korean?" "Online classes." "Which program?" She named one. He smiled like he didn't believe her. "And before Seoul you were where?" "Manila, teaching English." "Which school?" She gave him a name. He wrote it down. That night she texted her forger. "They're digging. How deep will it hold?" The response came an hour later. 3 layers. "After that you're on your own." 3 layers. Maybe 2 weeks if they were serious about checking. She needed to leave. But Yuna had nightmares on day 4. Woke up screaming about stairs and falling. And when Kimura ran into her room, the child grabbed onto her and wouldn't let go. "It's okay," Kimura whispered. "You're safe, I'm here." "Don't leave." Yuna sobbed into her shoulder. "I'm not going anywhere." "Liar," her brain whispered. She stayed in Yuna's room that night, curled in a chair next to the bed, and when she woke up at 3 in the morning, COO Kang Jun was standing in the doorway, watching them. Their eyes met in the darkness. He didn't say anything, just looked at his daughter, asleep now with her hand reaching toward Kimura's chair. Then he turned and disappeared like a ghost. In the morning, there was a blanket folded on the chair that hadn't been there before. Kimura picked it up. It was soft, expensive. Her chest did something complicated. This was a mistake, all of it. But she stayed. By the end of week 2, Kimura had a routine. Wake at 6. Check her phone for threatening messages. There were 3 more. Delete them. Go to the CO house. Get Yuna ready. Dodge Director Seo's pointed comments. Ignore the way Kang Jun looked at her when he thought she wasn't paying attention. Survive. It was almost working. Then Yuna brought home a permission slip for a school field trip and everything got complicated again. "It's to the art museum," Yuna said, hopping on 1 foot while Kimura helped her out of her school shoes. "We have to draw our favorite painting. Can you come?" "I'm not sure that's allowed, sweetheart. The paper says parents or guardians. You're my guardian now." Kimura looked at the permission slip. Sure enough, it needed a signature and offered spots for chaperones. "I should ask your dad first." "Ask me what?" They both turned. Kang Jun stood in the doorway of his office, jacket off, sleeves rolled up. Kimura had learned his patterns too. When the sleeves were rolled, it meant he'd been in meetings. When his jaw was tight like now, the meetings hadn't gone well. "Yuna has a field trip," Kimura said. "She wants me to chaperone." He walked over, took the paper from her hand. His fingers brushed hers for half a second. She pretended not to notice the static. "When is it?" "Friday," Yuna said. "Please, Daddy, all the other kids have their parents coming." Something crossed his face. "I have a meeting Friday, Then Kimura can come, right? He looked at Kimura. Do you want to spend 6 hours with 25-year-olds in a museum? Sounds like a party. The corner of his mouth twitched. Almost a smile. You're either very brave or very stupid. Can't I be both? This time he did smile. Small, quick, gone before it fully formed. But it changed his whole face. Made him look younger. Less like a man who had people buried in basements, and more like someone who might laugh at bad jokes. Fine. But Park Sung-hyun goes with you. Kimura's stomach sank. Is that necessary? Yes. His tone left no room for argument. He signed the form and handed it back. Sung-hyun will drive. You'll stay within his sight at all times, and Yuna doesn't leave yours. I wouldn't let her. He studied her face for a moment, like he was trying to figure out if she meant it. Good. Yuna hugged his leg. Thank you, Daddy. He touched her hair gently, the way someone handles something they're afraid might break. Go wash up for dinner. She ran off, leaving Kimura alone with him in the hallway. The silence stretched. She's getting attached to you, he said finally. I know. That's going to be a problem when you leave. Kimura's throat tightened. What makes you think I'm leaving? Everyone leaves eventually. He said it like a fact, not an opinion. And you have the look of someone who's already planning the exit. She should have deflected, made a joke, changed the subject. Instead, she asked, do you want me to leave? He looked at her directly then, and the air between them felt heavy. What I want isn't relevant. My daughter needs stability. Can you give her that? I'm trying. Try harder. She's already had enough people disappear. He walked past her toward his office, then stopped. And Kimura, whatever you're running from, handle it before it handles you. The door closed behind him. Kimura stood in the empty hallway, her pulse loud in her ears. He knew. Maybe not the details, but he knew she was running, and he was letting her stay anyway. For Yana. She needed to be more careful. Friday came too fast. Park Sung-hyun picked them up at 8 in the morning in a black SUV that looked like it could survive a missile strike. He was polite, professional, and watched Kimura like she might pull a weapon from her backpack at any moment. The museum has 4 exits, he said as they drove. I've already walked the route. Security is minimal but adequate. You stay with the school group. No wandering. Got it. I'm serious, mister. Seo was very clear about protocol. Kimura glanced at him. Does he give you instructions like this for all the nannies? You're the first one he's worried about. Should I be flattered? Sung-hyun's eyes met hers in the rearview mirror. You should be careful. Mr. Seo doesn't worry about people. When he does, it means something's wrong. Yuna was busy looking out the window, humming to herself, oblivious to the tension. The museum was beautiful, all clean lines and natural light. 20 kids swarmed through the entrance like excited birds. Yuna stuck close to Kimura's side, her small hand in Kimura's as they followed the group. The teacher, a young woman with a bright smile, did a head count. All right, everyone, we're going to the modern art section first. Stay with your groups. No running. Immediate running. Kimura couldn't help but laugh. Yuna grinned up at her. Kids are the same everywhere, huh? A voice said next to her. Kimura turned. Another parent, Korean, mid-30s, kind face. Basically chaos in small packages. The woman laughed. I'm Min Seo-yeon. My daughter is Haewon. She pointed to a girl with pigtails trying to climb a decorative sculpture. Kimura. And this is Yuna. Oh, you're Yuna's new nanny? I heard about you. Seo-yeon's tone was friendly, curious. The kids talk about you. Haewon says you're from America. I am. That's so brave. Moving here alone. Do you like Seoul? It's growing on me. They walked with the group, chatting easily. Seo-yeon was funny, warm, asked questions that felt genuine rather than invasive. It was the first normal conversation Kimura had had in months. She almost relaxed. Then Yuna tugged her hand. Kimura, look at that one. It was a painting of a woman standing at a window, her back to the viewer, looking out at nothing. Something about the posture, the isolation, made Kimura's chest ache. It's sad, Yuna said quietly. Yeah, it is. Do you think she's waiting for someone? Kimura crouched down. Maybe. Or maybe she's just thinking. About what? About where she wants to go next. Yuna looked at the painting, then at Kimura. Are you thinking about where to go next? The kid was too perceptive. Sometimes, Kimura admitted. But right now, I'm here with you. That's what matters. Yuna seemed satisfied with that. She pulled out her sketchbook and started drawing. Kimura stood and found Park Sung-hyun watching her from across the room. His expression was unreadable. 2 hours into the trip, Kimura took Yuna to the bathroom. When they came out, Sung-yoon was on his phone, his face tight. He saw her and walked over quickly. We need to leave. What? Why? Now. His hand went to Yuna's shoulder, already guiding her toward the exit. Kimura's training kicked in. She scanned the room, looking for the threat. What's happening? Someone's here who shouldn't be. We're going. They moved fast, but not fast enough to cause panic. Kimura told the teacher Yuna was feeling sick, grabbed their things, followed Sunghan's rigid back through the museum corridors. Her heart hammered. Had Rei's people found her? Here? They burst out a side exit into harsh sunlight. The SUV was already running, another man Kimura didn't recognize in the driver's seat. Sung-hyun pushed them inside. Go, now. The vehicle lurched forward. Kimura pulled Yuna close. It's okay, sweetheart, just a precaution. But Yuna wasn't scared. She looked confused. Is Daddy okay? Sung-hyun's jaw worked. Your father is fine. There was just some business that needed attention. They drove in tense silence for 10 minutes, taking turns that didn't lead toward the CO house. Evasive route. Kimura had driven enough of them to recognize the pattern. Finally, Sung-hyun's phone rang. He answered in rapid Korean, too fast for Kimura to fully catch. Then he exhaled. False alarm, he said. We're clear. False alarm of what? Kimura asked. He met her eyes in the mirror. You don't need to know. If it involves Yuna's safety, yes, I do. It doesn't involve you at all, which is the only reason you're still in this car. His tone was sharp. Mr. Seo has enemies. Sometimes they test boundaries. That's all this was. Kimura didn't believe him, but she nodded and held Yuna and watched Seoul pass by the tinted windows. When they got back to the house, Kang Jun was waiting in the driveway. He opened the car door himself before it fully stopped, his eyes scanning Yuna like he was checking for injuries. I'm okay, Daddy, she said. We left early, but I'm okay. He pulled her into a hug, quick and fierce. Then he looked at Kimura. Inside, both of you. Yuna went ahead. Kimura started to follow, but Kang Jun caught her wrist. Did you see anyone unusual at the museum? No. What's going on? Did anyone approach you? Ask questions. Just other parents. Normal conversation. Her pulse jumped under his fingers. Tell me what's happening. He let go, ran a hand through his hair. He looked tired, more than tired. Someone's been asking about my household staff, specifically about new hires. Kimura's blood went cold. Who? I don't, but whoever it is has reach. They knew about the field trip. His eyes locked on hers. Is there something you need to tell me? This was it. The moment to come clean. Tell him about Rei, about the evidence, about all of it. But if she told him, he'd remove her from the house to protect Yuna. And then she'd be alone with no resources and a target on her back. No, she lied. Nothing. He studied her face for a long time. She kept it blank. All right, he said finally. But from now on, you don't leave this property without armed security. And if anyone contacts you about anything, you tell me immediately, understand? Yes. Good. He turned toward the house, then paused. Kimura, I meant what I said before. Handle whatever you're running from. Because if it shows up here and threatens my daughter, I will handle it for you. And you won't like how I handle things. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. She believed him. That night, after Yuna was asleep, Kimura sat in her assigned room and stared at her phone. 3 more messages from unknown numbers, all variations of the same thing. We know where you are. Time's up. Come home, Kimura. She should run, right now. Pack and disappear before Rei's people connected her to the Seo family. But her feet didn't move. Instead, she pulled out the small notebook she'd been keeping, a habit from her journalism days. Document everything. She'd been noting small things about the household, comments she'd overheard, patterns, and one name kept appearing in odd contexts. Han Ji-yeon, Kang Jun's dead wife. The staff didn't talk about her directly, but Kimura had learned to listen to what people didn't say. The way Choi Ri-na's face went tight when someone mentioned the 3rd floor. How Director Seo changed the subject whenever Yuna asked about her mother. The locked room that no one was allowed to enter. And something Yuna had said during one of her nightmares. Mommy was scared of the stairs. But Ji-yeon died in a car accident, didn't she? Kimura flipped to a fresh page and started mapping what she knew. It wasn't much, but it was enough to itch. A knock on the door made her jump. She shoved the notebook under her pillow. Yes? Choi Ri-na opened the door, her face unreadable. Mr. Seo wants to see you, in his study. Kimura's stomach dropped. Now. She followed the older woman through the quiet house. It was past 11. Most of the staff had gone home. The halls felt bigger in the darkness. Choi Ri-na stopped outside the study door. Whatever he asks you, tell the truth. He always knows when people lie. Then she left. Kimura knocked. Come in. Kang Jun sat behind his desk, but he wasn't working. He was just sitting there in the dim light from a single lamp. A glass of whiskey sat untouched in front of him. Close the door, he said. She did. Sit. She sat in the chair across from him. The desk felt like a wall between them. He was quiet for a long moment, just looking at her. Then he said, I had someone run a deeper check on your background. Her heart stopped. The documents are perfect. Too perfect. The kind of perfect that costs serious money. He leaned forward slightly. So I'm going to ask you again, and this time I want the truth. What are you running from? Kimura's mouth went dry. And before you lie to me again, he continued quietly, you should know that someone contacted one of my business partners today, an American, asking about a woman matching your description. He said she stole something valuable. He wants her back. The room tilted. So, Kang Jun said, tell me, are you a thief, Kimura? She could lie. Come up with a story. Stick to the cover. But he was looking at her like he already knew the answer. Like he was just waiting to see if she'd be honest. And something in her, the part that was so tired of running, broke. No, she said. I'm not a thief. I'm a witness. His expression didn't change. To what? A murder. In Atlanta, 6 months ago. The words came faster now. Like a dam breaking. I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. I documented it. And the man who did it wants to make sure I can't testify. Why didn't you go to the police? Because the man who wants me dead has half the Atlanta PD on his payroll. I tried. 2 days after I filed a report, someone broke into my apartment. I got out through the fire escape with a backpack and my phone. She met his eyes. I've been running ever since. And Seoul? Far enough that I thought I'd be safe. But you're not. No. Her voice cracked slightly. I'm not. Kang Jun leaned back, his face unreadable. What's his name? The man looking for you. Devin Ray. He runs guns, among other things. Something flickered in Kang Jun's expression. Ray, you know him? I know of him. He had business arrangements with some of my partners. Past tense, his eyes narrowed. What exactly did you witness? An execution in a parking garage. Clean, professional. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But I had my camera. I'm a journalist. Was a journalist. It's instinct. And you have evidence. It wasn't a question. She nodded. Where? Safe. That's not an answer. It's the only one I'm giving you right now. They stared at each other across the desk. This evidence, he said finally. Is it enough to put him away? It's enough to end him. His operation. Everything. Then why haven't you used it? Because the second I do, I'm dead. He has long reach. The only thing keeping me alive right now is that he doesn't know exactly where I am. She swallowed hard. Or he didn't, until today. Kang Jun stood, walked to the window. His back was to her, but she could see his reflection in the glass. His jaw was tight. You brought a war to my doorstep, he said quietly. I didn't mean to. Intent doesn't matter. Result does. He turned. If Ray's people come here, if they threaten my daughter in any way, you understand what I'll do. Yes, do you? He walked toward her, stopped 3 feet away. I will burn everything you care about to ash, and then I'll bury you somewhere no one will ever find you. That's not a threat. That's a guarantee. She believed every word. I would never let anything happen to Yuna, Kimura said. Her voice was steady despite the fear. I'll leave right now if you want. Disappear. But I need you to know, I would die before I let someone hurt that little girl. His eyes searched hers, looking for the lie. You mean that, he said finally. It sounded like a surprise. Yes. The silence stretched between them, heavy and strange. I should throw you out, he said. Right now, it's the smart move. I know. Yuna would be devastated. I know that too. He exhaled slowly. She talks about you constantly. At breakfast. At dinner. You're the first person she's trusted since her mother died. Kimura's throat tightened. So here's what's going to happen, Kang Jun said. You're going to stay. But you're going to tell me everything you know about Ray. His operation. His contacts. His vulnerabilities. Everything. Why? Because he made a mistake touching my business to get to you, and I don't forgive mistakes. His smile was cold. And because I'm curious what evidence is valuable enough to run across the world for. I told you, I'm not giving you the evidence. I don't want your evidence. I want Ray handled so he stops being my problem, and yours. Kimura's heart hammered. You're going to help me. I'm going to help myself. You're just collateral benefit. He walked back to his desk, picked up his whiskey, drank. But if we're doing this, you need to be honest with me about everything. No more lies, no more running. You're in my house now. That makes you my responsibility whether I like it or not. She should have felt trapped, cornered. Instead, she felt something like relief. Okay, she said.
Okay.
I'll tell you everything. He studied her for another long moment, then nodded. Tomorrow. After Yuna's asleep, bring everything you have. She stood to leave, and Kimura. She turned. For what it's worth, I believe you, about protecting Yuna. His expression softened just slightly. She's lucky to have you. The words landed somewhere in her chest and stuck. She left before she could say something stupid. Hey, if you're still with me, I need you to do something. Tell me in the comments. Do you think Kimura can trust Kang Jun? Is he really going to help her, or is this a trap? Drop your theories below. Back in her room, Kimura pulled out the USB drive from its hiding place. Tomorrow she'd tell him everything, show him what she had. It was a gamble, a huge one, but she was tired of running alone. And something about the way Kang Jun looked at her, like she was a puzzle he was trying to solve rather than a problem to eliminate, made her think maybe, just maybe, she'd found someone who could help her survive this. Her phone buzzed. Another message. We know you're working for the CO family. Clever hiding spot, but not clever enough. You have 48 hours to return what you stole. After that, we start hurting people you care about. A photo loaded below the text. Kimura's blood turned to ice. It was Yuna, leaving school that afternoon. Clear as day, they knew. They'd been watching. And now, they were threatening a 5-year-old to get to her. Kimura's hand shook as she deleted the message. But the image was burned into her brain. 48 hours. She looked at the USB drive in her palm. Everything that could save her. Everything that could destroy her. And now everything that could get Yuna killed. She had to tell Kang Jun. Tonight. She was halfway to the door when it opened. Kang Jun stood there, his face dark. He held up his own phone. I just got a very interesting message. About you. About my daughter. And about some evidence I apparently should know about. His eyes were black with rage. You have 10 seconds to explain before I do something we'll both regret. Kimura held up the drive. This, she said. This is what they want. And I'll give it to you, all of it. But you need to listen to everything first. He looked at the drive, then at her face. Talk, he said. Fast. She talked. She told him about the parking garage, the murder, the footage. About running. About the fake papers. About every city she'd hidden in. About Ray's operation, his reach, his connections. And about the message, the photo, the threat. By the time she finished, Kang Jun's expression had gone from rage to something colder. Something calculating. Show me the footage, he said. She plugged the drive into her laptop. The video played. Grainy parking garage security mixed with her phone camera shots. Clear audio. Ray's face. The victim. The gun. Everything. Kang Jun watched in silence. When it finished, he was quiet for a long time. This is enough, he said finally. More than enough. I know. And you've been carrying this around for 6 months. Yes. He looked at her with something that might have been respect. You're either the bravest person I've ever met or the most foolish. I'm starting to think there's no difference. The corner of his mouth twitched, almost a smile. Then his face went serious again. 48 hours isn't enough time to move Yuna somewhere secure without tipping them off. And if we run, they'll know we know. He paced it, thinking. We need to make them think you're complying while we set a trap. A trap? They want the evidence. We give it to them, but not the real drive. He looked at her. Can you make a convincing copy? Enough to pass a quick check. Maybe. If I had the right equipment. I'll have it here in an hour. His eyes were sharp now, focused. We set a meet. Public place. You hand over a fake drive. My people are in position. We take them out before they realize it's a copy. And if they check it on site, they won't. Ray wants you in person. He wants to make an example. He'll take the drive and take you somewhere quiet. Kang Jun's jaw tightened. But he won't get the chance. Because you won't actually be there. Kimura blinked. What? We'll send someone who looks like you. Same height, same build. In the dark, at a distance, they won't know until it's too late. That's insane. That's survival. He moved closer. You said you trust me to protect Yuna. Now I need you to trust me to protect you too. She looked up at him. He was close enough that she could see the gold flecks in his dark eyes. Close enough to feel the heat coming off him. Why are you doing this? She asked quietly. Because someone threatened my daughter. And because you're right, you would die to protect her. I saw it in your face. His voice dropped. People like that are rare. Worth protecting. The air between them felt electric. "Thank you," she whispered. He reached out, and for a second she thought he might touch her face. But his hand stopped halfway, curled into a fist, dropped. "Don't thank me yet. We still have to survive the next 2 days." He stepped back. "Make the fake drive, I'll make the calls. And Kimura, yeah? No more secrets. If you're in my house, you're in my circle. And in my circle, we don't keep things from each other. Understood?" She nodded. He left. Kimura sat on her bed, adrenaline crashing through her system. 48 hours. She looked at the real USB drive in her hand. Everything was about to explode. But for the first time in 6 months, she wasn't facing it alone. The equipment arrived at 2 in the morning. 3 boxes of technical gear carried in by men who didn't give their names. Kimura set up in a spare office on the 2nd floor, Kang-jun watching over her shoulder as she worked. "How long will this take?" he asked. 2 hours if I'm lucky. 4 if I'm not." She plugged in cables and booted up software. "The file structure has to match exactly, or they'll know immediately." "Can you do it?" "I used to edit investigative footage for a living. I can make it look real enough." Her fingers flew across the keyboard. "But it'll only hold up for maybe 10 minutes under scrutiny. 10 minutes is all we need." She glanced at him. He'd changed into dark, tactical-looking clothes. His phone kept buzzing with incoming messages he'd answer in rapid Korean. "You've done this before," she said. "Set traps. More times than I can count. Does it always work?" He met her eyes. "I'm still alive, so yes." Something in his tone made her pause. "What did you do before this? Before running your family's business?" "Nothing you need to know about." "That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting tonight." But his expression softened slightly. "Focus on the drive. Let me handle the rest." She went back to work. The silence between them was comfortable now. Strange quickly that had happened. "Can I ask you something?" she said after a while. "Depends on the question. Your wife, how did she really die?" His whole body went rigid. "Why are you asking?" "Because Yuna says things in her sleep. About stairs. About her mother being scared. And because there's a locked room on the 3rd floor no one talks about." She kept her eyes on the screen. "And because I think whatever happened to her might be connected to all this." The silence stretched so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then he said quietly, "The official report says car accident, single vehicle. She lost control on a wet road, but you don't believe that." "No." The word was heavy. Jaeon was a careful driver, almost obsessive about it. And the night she died, it hadn't rained in 3 days. Kimura's hands stilled on the keyboard. "What do you think happened?" "I think someone killed her and made it look like an accident. I think she found out something she wasn't supposed to know. And I think someone in my organization helped cover it up." His voice was flat, controlled. "I've spent 3 years trying to prove it. I have theories. No evidence. The locked room, her office. I kept everything exactly how she left it, hoping I'd missed something." He moved to the window and stared out at the dark garden. "She was investigating financial discrepancies. Money moving through our shipping routes that didn't match our manifests. She told me she was close to finding the source, and then she died, 2 days later." Kimura's mind raced. "Ray uses shipping routes. For his guns." Kang-jun turned slowly. "What?" "It's in the evidence. Not just the murder footage. Financial records I found on his associate's laptop before I ran. He has partnerships with shipping companies across Asia, including Korea." She pulled up a separate file. "I didn't connect it to your family specifically, but look. These port codes. Do you recognize them?" He leaned over her shoulder, close enough that she could smell his cologne. His breath caught. "Those are ours. All of them. Which means Ray was using your routes 3 years ago. Which means if Jaeon was investigating unusual shipments, she would have found evidence of his operation." Kang-jun's voice was deadly quiet, and he had her killed to protect it. The pieces clicked into place. "Who had access to her investigation?" Kimura asked. "Who would have known what she found?" "Her assistant. My father. Park Sung-hyun." He straightened. "And Choi Ri-na. She managed the household schedules. She would have known Jeon's movements. You suspect someone. I've suspected all of them at different times." His jaw clenched. "But I could never prove anything. Everyone's story was airtight. And I couldn't exactly start interrogating my own father without evidence. Maybe that's about to change." Kimura pulled up another file. "Ray keeps records of his partners. Code names mostly, but look at this one. The director. Large payments starting 4 years ago. Stopping 6 months ago. Kang Jun went very still. It could be a coincidence, Kimura said. Director is a common term. Show me the payment dates. She pulled up the spreadsheet. He scanned it, his face getting darker with each line. These match, he said softly. Every single one corresponds to a major shipment through our routes. Shipments my father personally oversaw. You saying your father is the one who made the deal with Ray, and when Ji-yeon got too close to the truth, he had her killed. Kang Jun's hands were shaking. With rage or grief, Kimura couldn't tell. My own father murdered my wife. You don't know that for certain. Not yet. Yes, I do. He pulled out his phone, pulled up a photo. This is Ji-yeon's calendar from the week she died. Look at Thursday. Kimura looked. A single entry. Meeting with director. Urgent. She was going to confront him, show him what she'd found. She thought he'd help her expose whoever was behind it. His voice cracked. She didn't know it was him. Kang Jun, I'm sorry. He turned away, his shoulders tight. For a long moment, he just stood there, breathing hard. Then he straightened. When he turned back, his face was a mask. Finish the drive. We handle Ray's people tomorrow as planned. And then I deal with my father. What are you going to do? What I should have done 3 years ago. The cold certainty in his voice made her shiver. She went back to work. By 4 in the morning, the fake drive was ready. Kimura had loaded it with corrupted files that would look legitimate for about 8 minutes before degrading. Long enough. It's done, she said. Kang Jun took the drive and examined it. Good, now get some sleep, you'll need it. What about you? I have calls to make. He headed for the door, then paused. Kimura, thank you for showing me this, for trusting me with it. You're helping me stay alive. It's the least I can do. No, it's more than that. He looked at her properly, and something in his expression made her breath catch. You could have run, taken your evidence and disappeared, but you stayed. Because of Yuna. She's a good kid. She's not the only reason you stayed. The words hung between them. Kimura's heart hammered. What do you mean? But he was already leaving. Sleep. We have a long day tomorrow. The door closed. Kimura sat in the empty office, her skin buzzing. He was right. Yuna wasn't the only reason anymore. But she couldn't think about that. Not now. Not with everything about to explode. She went back to her room and managed 3 hours of restless sleep before Yana knocked on her door at 7:30. Kimura? Are you awake? She opened the door. Yuna stood there in her pajamas holding a stuffed rabbit. Hey, sweetheart, you're up early. I had a bad dream. Yuna's eyes were red. Can I stay with you? Of course. Come here. Kimura pulled her into a hug. The child was shaking. I dreamed that you left. Like mommy, and I couldn't find you. Kimura's throat tightened. I'm not going anywhere, baby, I promise. Everyone says that, but they always leave. I know, but I'm different. She pulled back and looked Yuna in the eyes. You know how you knew I was sad when we first met? How you could just tell? Yuna nodded. That's because you're smart. You see people clearly. So look at me now and tell me, am I lying? Yuna studied her face for a long moment, then shook her head. No, you're not lying. That's right, and I won't start now. Kimura smoothed her hair. Things might get a little weird today, okay? Some of Daddy's work stuff. But you're safe. I'm safe. We're all going to be fine. Promise? Kimura hesitated. She couldn't actually promise that. Not with what was coming. But Yuna needed to hear it. I promise, she said. Yuna hugged her tighter. They had breakfast together, just the two of them. Kang Jun was already gone, according to the staff. Director Seo didn't appear either. Choi Ri-na served them, her movements efficient and cold as always. But when she set down Kimura's tea, she leaned in slightly. Mr. Seo wants you to keep Miss Yuna on the 2nd floor today. Eastern wing only. Do not deviate. Why? Just follow the instruction. She straightened. And Miss Ellison. Whatever happens today, remember that child comes first. Before Kimura could respond, she was gone. The day crawled by. Kimura kept Yuna entertained with games, stories, drawing. But her nerves were screaming. She checked her phone every 10 minutes. No new messages from Ray's people. No update from Kang Jun. At 2 in the afternoon, Park Sung-hyun appeared. It's time, he said. The meet is set for 6. Location is an old warehouse in Incheon. Public enough to seem safe. Isolated enough for us to control. Who's going in my place? Kimura asked. One of our people. Similar build. She's done this before. He looked at Yuna, who was coloring across the room. The child stays here with additional security. You'll be in a van 3 blocks away. If anything goes wrong, nothing will go wrong. Kang Jun's voice came from the doorway. He looked exhausted but focused. His eyes found Kimura's. Ready? She nodded. Yuna, he called. Come here, sweetheart. Yuna ran over. He picked her up, held her close. Daddy has to work tonight. You're going to stay with Miss Choi and some of my friends, okay? When will you be back? Before bedtime, I promise. He kissed her forehead. Be good. He set her down. Yuna looked at Kimura. You too? I'll be back soon, Kimura said. We're just handling some boring grown-up stuff. Yuna didn't look convinced, but she nodded. Two men in suits Kimura didn't recognize came to collect her. Kang Jun watched until she was out of sight, then turned to Kimura. Let's go end this. The van was cramped and smelled like coffee and gun oil. Kimura sat in the back with Kang Jun, watching feeds from 6 different cameras on a monitor. The woman pretending to be her was good. Same coat, same walk, same nervous energy. She carried the fake drive in her pocket. She knows the signal, Sung Hyun said from the driver's seat. The second Ray's people confirm the exchange. She drops to the ground. Then we move in. How many men do they have? Kimura asked. We counted 4 in the initial surveillance, likely 2 more in backup. Kang Jun's eyes never left the screen. We have 12. This ends fast. 5:45. The decoy entered the warehouse. 5:50. A black car pulled up. 3 men got out. Kimura's stomach dropped. That's Marcus, Ray's head of security. The one in the footage? No, worse. He's the one who tracked me to Manila, her hands clenched. He's smart. He won't just take the drive. He'll test it. Kang Jun's jaw tightened. How long to test? 2 minutes if he's thorough. Then we move at the 90-second mark. He spoke into his radio in rapid Korean. On screen, the decoy approached Marcus. They talked. Kimura couldn't hear the audio, but she could read the body language. Tense, aggressive. The decoy held out the drive. Marcus took it, pulled out a laptop. He's checking it, Kimura breathed. Now. Kang Jun watched the timer on his watch. 60 seconds. Marcus plugged in the drive, started scrolling through files. 45 seconds. The decoy shifted her weight. Ready to drop. 30 seconds. Marcus's face changed. He looked up sharply, said something. He knows, Kimura said. He knows it's fake. 20 seconds. Marcus reached for his gun. Go, Kang Jun said into the radio. Now. The warehouse exploded with movement. Kang Jun's men poured in from 3 entrances. The decoy dropped. Gunfire erupted. Kimura flinched at every shot, her heart in her throat. It was over in 90 seconds. When the smoke cleared, Marcus and his men were on the ground, disarmed and surrounded. Kang Jun opened the van door. Stay here. Like hell. He looked like he wanted to argue, then just grabbed her wrist. Stay behind me. Don't do anything stupid. They crossed to the warehouse. Inside, the air smelled like cordite and fear. Marcus was on his knees, bleeding from a shoulder wound, his face twisted with rage. He saw Kimura and laughed. There she is, the little journalist who thinks she's clever. Shut up, one of Kang Jun's men said, pressing a gun to his head. But Marcus kept his eyes on Kimura. You think this changes anything? Ray knows where you are. Knows about the kid you're taking care of. You can't hide behind these people forever. She's not hiding, Kang Jun said quietly. And neither am I. He pulled out his phone, made a call. Spoke in English this time, cold and precise. Mr. Ray. My name is Co. Kang Jun. Your men just attempted an operation on my territory without permission. I'm sure you understand that's unacceptable. He listened for a moment. Yes, the woman you're looking for is under my protection now, as is the evidence she carries. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to cease all operations involving my family's business. You're going to recall whatever assets you have in Seoul, and you're going to forget Kimura Ellison exists. Another pause. Then Kang Jun smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Because if you don't, I'm going to release her evidence to every law enforcement agency in 3 countries. But not before I send what she has on your Korean operations to my competitors. I imagine they'll be very interested in your client lists. He paused. You have 24 hours to comply. After that, the information goes public and your people here start disappearing. Do we understand each other? He hung up. Marcus stared at him. You're insane. Ray will start a war over this. Let him try. Kang Jun looked at Sung Hyun. Take them to the secondary location. Get everything they know about Ray's operations here. Then make them disappear. Wait, Kimura said. What does disappear mean? Kang Jun looked at her. Do you really want to know? She thought about it. About what these men had put her through. About the threat to Yuna. No, she said finally. I don't, he nodded. Then let's go home. They were halfway back to the house when Kang Jun's phone rang. He answered, listened, and his face went white. What? Kimura asked. My father just tried to leave the country. My people stopped him at the airport. His voice was shaking. He had Ji-yeon's original investigation files with him. He was running, because he knows you know. Yes. He looked at her. I need to handle this. Alone. Can you stay with Yuna tonight? Make sure she doesn't hear anything. Of course. Thank you. He reached out, and this time his hand did touch her face. Just briefly. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. This isn't over. Between us. But I need to finish this first. Her breath caught. I know. Good. The van stopped at the house. Kimura got out. Kang Jun stayed inside. Go to her, he said softly. I'll see you tomorrow. The van pulled away. Kimura stood in the driveway, her heart racing for entirely different reasons now. If you've made it this far, I need to know. Are you Team Kimura and Kang Jun? Do you think they'll actually get their happy ending? Hit subscribe and drop a comment with your prediction, see? Because this story is about to reach its conclusion. Inside, Yuna was still awake, sitting with Choi Ri-na in the living room. When she saw Kimura, she ran over. You came back. Of course I did. Kimura picked her up. Told you I would. Choi Ri-na stood. Her face was strange, almost sad. Mr. Seo called. He said to tell you thank you for everything. She looked at Kimura properly. I misjudged you. I thought you were just another person using this family. But you actually care about that child. I do. Good. She needs that. Choi Ri-na moved toward the door, then paused. Whatever happens tonight with the director, Miss Yuna doesn't need to know. Some things children are better off not understanding. I agree. She left. Kimura carried Yuna upstairs, got her ready for bed. Read her 3 stories. The girl fought sleep, clearly sensing something was wrong. Where's Daddy? She asked for the 5th time. Working. He'll be here soon. Is he okay? He's fine, sweetheart. Just tired. Finally, Yuna's eyes closed. Kimura sat in the chair next to her bed, watching her breathe. Somewhere in the house, she heard voices, raised voices, then silence. She didn't move. An hour later, her door opened quietly. Kang Jun stood there. He looked wrecked. His shirt was untucked, his tie gone. But his eyes were clear. Is she asleep? He whispered. Kimura nodded. He walked to the bed, looked at his daughter for a long moment. Then he bent down, kissed her forehead gently. I'm sorry, he whispered to the sleeping child, for everything. But it's over now. You're safe. He straightened, looked at Kimura. Come with me. She followed him to his study. He closed the door, poured 2 glasses of whiskey, handed her one. My father confessed, he said flatly, to all of it. The deal with Ray, helping cover up Ji-yeon's murder. He didn't pull the trigger himself, but he arranged it. Paid someone. Made it look like an accident. God, Kang Jun, I'm so sorry. He said he did it to protect the family. That Ji-yeon was going to destroy everything we'd built by exposing the shipping arrangement. That she didn't understand business. He drank his whiskey in one swallow. He killed my wife because she was inconvenient. What's going to happen to him? He's been removed from all family operations. His assets are frozen. He'll live out his remaining years in a comfortable exile. But he'll never set foot in this house again, and Yuna will never know what he did. His voice cracked. I can't protect her from losing her mother, but I can protect her from knowing her own family killed her. Kimura set down her glass, walked over to him. You did the right thing, did I? Or did I just take the easy way out? I should have had him arrested, put him on trial, and put Yuna through that, through seeing her grandfather in prison, through the media circus. She touched his arm. You did what a father does. You protected your child. He looked at her hand on his arm, then at her face. You keep doing that. What? Understanding. When everyone else would judge, you see it clearly. He reached up, covered her hand with his. How do you do that? I've made enough mistakes to know judgment doesn't help anyone. Kimura. His voice was rough. I need to tell you something. Her heart hammered. Okay. When you first came here, I thought you were a threat. Someone to watch, to manage, to eventually remove. But then I saw you with Yuna. Saw how you looked at her like she mattered. Like she was worth protecting. He stepped closer. And then I started seeing you. Not the nanny. Not the woman running from danger. Just you. And I haven't been able to stop. She couldn't breathe. Kang Jun, I know this is complicated. I know you're still processing everything. But I need you to know, you're not just here for Yuna anymore. You're here because I want you here. I want to be here, she whispered. Good. He reached up, cupped her face with both hands. Can I kiss you? Please. She nodded. He kissed her softly at first, gentle and careful, like she was something precious. Then her hands fisted in his shirt, and his control broke. The kiss deepened, turned hungry, desperate. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, his forehead rested against hers. "Stay," he said. "Not as Yuna's nanny, as something more. Stay with us. I don't know what I am anymore. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. My whole life for 6 months has been running. Then stop running. Be here. Be with us. With me." His thumb brushed her cheekbone. "Please." She looked into his eyes and saw everything she'd been missing. Safety. Home. Someone who saw her completely and wanted her anyway. "Okay," she said. "I'll stay." He kissed her again, slower this time, like they had all the time in the world. Maybe they did. 6 months later, Kimura woke up to Yuna jumping on her bed. Wake up, it's my birthday." Kimura groaned, but she was smiling. I'm awake. "Happy birthday, sweetheart. Daddy's making pancakes, the American kind you taught him, but they're all weird shapes. That's because your daddy can't cook." "I heard that." Kang Jun's voice came from the doorway. He walked in holding a tray with the most lopsided pancakes Kimura had ever seen. "I'm improving, if you say so." She sat up, kissed him good morning. Yuna made a face. "Gross. Grown-ups are so weird." "You'll understand when you're older," Kimura said. "That's what you always say." Because it's true. They had breakfast in bed, the three of them, making a mess and laughing. Outside, Seoul was waking up. The same city Kimura had come to 6 months ago planning to disappear in. Instead, she'd been found. Ray had honored the deal. His operations in Korea were shut down. His associates had gone silent. The evidence Kimura carried was still safe, locked away in a secure location. Insurance against him ever changing his mind. She'd testified remotely to a grand jury in Atlanta. With Kang Jun's lawyers protecting her, she'd given her statement without ever setting foot back in the States. Ray was awaiting trial. His empire was collapsing. And Kimura was free. Free to stay. Free to build something real. Free to love this strange little family she'd stumbled into. "What do you want to do for your birthday?" she asked Yuna. "Can we go to the park? All three of us, like a real family?" Kimura's throat tightened. "We are a real family, sweetheart." "I know, but I like it when we do normal family things together." Kang Jun caught Kimura's eye. They'd talked about this, about making it official, about giving Yuna the stability she needed, about getting married. Not yet, they were taking it slow, but soon. "Park it is," he said. "But first, presents." Yuna squealed and ran off to get dressed. Kimura leaned against Kang Jun's shoulder. "Normal family things," she says. "If she only knew. She'll never have to know. That's the point. Do you think we can really do this? The whole normal family thing. I think we can try. And if we mess up, we figure it out together." He kissed her temple. "That's what families do." She laced her fingers through his. "I love you. I love you too." He said it easily now. The first time had taken him 3 months and half a bottle of wine. Now it came naturally. "Both of you." Yuna came running back in. Let's go. They spent the day at the park, eating street food and watching Yuna play. Just another family on a Saturday. Nothing special. Everything special. That night, after Yuna was asleep and the house was quiet, Kimura stood at the window of their bedroom looking out at the garden. Kang Jun came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "About how I came here to disappear, and instead I found everything I didn't know I needed. Are you happy?" She turned in his arms, looked up at him. "Yeah, I really am. Good, because I have something for you." He pulled out a small box. Kimura's heart stopped. "Kang Jun, it's not what you think. Not yet." He opened it. Inside was a key. "This is to the 3rd floor room. Jaeyeon's office." She looked at him in surprise. "I want you to have it. Use it however you want. Turn it into a workspace, a library, whatever. But I think it's time to stop keeping that room locked. Time to move forward." His voice was soft. "Jaeyeon would have liked you. Would have wanted Yuna to have someone like you in her life." Kimura took the key, her eyes burning. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." He kissed her forehead. "Make it yours. Make this whole place yours. You already own everything that matters in it anyway." She kissed him then, pouring everything she felt into it. Gratitude, love, hope. When they finally pulled apart, she whispered, "Thank you for taking a chance on me. Thank you for taking a chance on us." That night, Kimura lay in bed next to the man she loved, in the house that had become her home, protecting the child who had chosen her first. She'd come to Seoul running from her past, but she'd found her future instead. And she wasn't going anywhere. "Before we end this, I need you to do something for me. If this story touched you, if you felt every moment of Kimura's journey from fear to love, if you're rooting for this family they built together, hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments what your favorite moment was. Was it when Yuna first chose Kimura? The moment Kang Jun decided to protect her? Or that final confession of love? Tell me your thoughts because your comments fuel these stories. And if you want more stories like this, stories about finding home in unexpected places, about love that heals, about families built by choice rather than blood, subscribe and stay tuned. Thank you for listening to Kimura's story. Thank you for being here until the very end.